You are listening to the Arcade Brothers only on the 4-Eyed Radio Network, The Fern.
Hi, this is Steve O'Mooney from the 4-Eyed Radio Network. Now, one of our great sponsors on our show is Amazon.com. Go to thesasquatch.net, click on the Amazon banner, and shop like you normally do. We'll get a little taste if you do. So yet again, check out thesasquatch.net and click on our Amazon.com banner. Thank you for your support. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Arcade Brothers. I am your host, Player 1, Steve-O, with my co-host, Player 2,
Kyle.
And yes, that was from the Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time video game. That was the boss battle. Kyle and I actually just started playing. We played that actually before we started recording the show. Basically, I finally got a bunch of the ROMs to work on the Oh Yeah, which is actually kind of sweet. So hopefully once Kyle and I get that little box where we can start recording gameplay, this will actually be a really good tool for us because it runs through an HDMI cable and we don't have to worry about getting the connectors. Because I know we would want to play some Atari games, and like granted, yeah, if we could find an Atari system, that'd be awesome. Yeah. But we also just realized we do not have a TV for the Atari.
Well, I could still have an old 20-inch. I could probably
but I would have to figure out how we have to record it.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
We'll have like the old 80s camcorder. Like we'll have everything back from like the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
80s. We'll wear all 80s stuff.
Let me call you on my mobile phone. And
awesome, like that big
dude.
One. Yeah. But of course, we're brought to you by America Joy Print Shop, the official sponsor of the 4-Eyed Radio Network. Business cards, flyers, posters, car wraps, and more. Visit AmericaJoy.com for more information. Tell them the Fern sent you. Also, we're sponsored by Raven Designs. Illustrate and designs that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, visit ravencruise.com. Also, you can find us on arcadebrothers.com. That's arcade-bros.com.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the 4-Eyed Radio Network. And before we get into all of our segments, what we're doing, Kyle, we have some shout-outs.
We do, quite a bit, actually.
8-bit shout-outs. That's what I'm calling them now, 8-bit shout-outs.
You, 8-bits all over your face. So we have Pork Chop Express 3 these are Twitter ones, at Alvaro River Raider, which is Raidr. He didn't have the E because he probably ran out of characters.
I'm wondering if actually that's my buddy Jeremy, because that's the same. I think that's the same one as his tag on Xbox Live.
Oh my God, that might be the same.
If that is you, Jeremy, thank you for following us. And yes, we are still looking into that rapper for you for Dead Island. We have not.
that guy who's the
voodoo like you do. Yeah, bitch. Voodoo like you do, bitch. Yeah, yeah. Rapper for rapper, we gotta punch and kick, and it's all in the mind. If you wanna test me, that's not my song, but I don't care.
Then we had at the Chris, that Chris Gore. For whatever reason, they followed us again at Long Boxcast.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, screw that.
I really hate them.
At Consola Especial, we had at Trekkie B47. Friend of the show, at Eddie Halford BDH, and at Luke Schnabel. Thank you guys all for following us.
Is that like Schnapple?
Yeah, it's almost like Schnapple, but with a Schnabel with a B.
Oh,
close, but no cigar.
Close, but no cigar. It's actually a song by Weird Al.
What you got, Steve?
But this is what we've been playing this week. I've been playing Shoot Many Robots. That was a free downloadable. I don't know if you can still get it for free, but on Xbox Live during their months, they're still doing these free games you can get. So this is a side-scrolling shoot 'em up. It's up to 4 players, online drop out, drop in modes, which is really cool. Very cool. It's you upgrade your character, you buy more weapons. Basically, you just shoot a bunch of robots.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's funny though because it's a really good game. but I'm also kind of glad when it came out I didn't buy it. Like, I do like it being free, but I don't know if I would actually spend the money to buy this game. But it's not like a bad game.
And I remember too, because when they first advertised it for Gearbox Software, it was like Shoot Many Robots, and showed the little robot with the chainsaw doing stuff, just piles of them. I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna be really cool. Like, it reminded me though more of like a Borderlands style.
Yeah.
And then like once I downloaded the game and played it, the same as you, I was kind of more like, oh, like it's side scrolling. It's like it was a lot different than what I originally remember it being. I like it though. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
free to play, love it.
I love it, but I just don't know if I would have, if I played the trial, if I would have bought it. Like, it's just, and I'm not saying like it's a terrible game. Like, don't buy it. But it's just.
I think I would depend. Like, depending on if it was like 800 points, like $10 or something at the time. Probably not, because I think now it's free to play, and then eventually I think it was like $4.99 or something like that. And for me, like, had they played the demo, maybe I'd mind to pick it up for $5. But I don't know if I would have paid like the full like $10 or $12 for it originally. But yeah, it's definitely a fun game to play.
Yeah, it's fun. So if you ever want to play with us, if you've ever gotten it, check it out. Of course, I finally got a bunch of the ROM emulators working on my So I have been playing a lot of old school games.
I like the chicken flavored.
I've been playing a lot of Sega Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, even the N64. I'm still trying to get the Neo Geo one working, and also the PlayStation 1 games working. But the Neo Geo I really want to play because there's a game I've been wanting to play for like ever, and the better version of it, of course, is on the Neo Geo. It was released on the Super Nintendo, and I believe the Sega Genesis, but it's called King of the Monsters 2. And it's basically like a side-scrolling beat-em-up / kind of fighting game. It's really unique and stuff like that, but the best version of it is on the Neo Geo, because a lot of people don't know this, but with the Neo Geo arcades, when they came out, it literally was a Neo Geo system inside the arcade. And that's why it was so easy to have all these games in it. You could switch out the cartridges and stuff like that. So then when it did become a home console, everyone was very curious. Is like, why are the cartridges so big? Why, and everything like that. Because literally those were the exact, pretty much systems that were in those cabinets, as I think the arcade cabinets were called. So, but been playing a lot of old school games. It's funny because this is a great. We just played Turtles in Time. We're going to be doing these new segments on the show calling Retrospect, where Kyle and I will sit down before a show, play an old school game, and be like, does it still live up to it when we remember playing it? Is it still fun gameplay wise and all these kind of questions, or is it still as bad as we remember, some of the games I did download, which I am kind of looking forward to playing and laughing my ass off, going like, yeah, this is, I remember like renting this game and going like, well, I just wasted a weekend, basically, because the game was horrible.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. Like, I liked it. I like how it handled the OIA translated very well. There are some quirks, obviously, with ROMs where you can like fast forward and do weird things
the cool part is you can switch up the controllers, so you can use a PlayStation 3 controller if you want to. You can even switch up the controls and actually use the joystick if you wanted to during those like side-scrolling. But one of the games we played was the Turtles in Time for the SNES mod. Remembering it was so much fun. I remember constantly renting this game and playing it, but there was also another game that came out the same time. Now, this is kind of weird to say. A lot of people who probably grew up with the newer systems don't know this, but back in the day with Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, they released 2 games at the same time, but they would be completely different games, such as Turtles in Time was officially for the Super Nintendo, but Sega released another game, same company, everything that, but it was actually called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Hyperstone Chase, and it was a Sega Genesis exclusive. It was basically the same kind of game, side-scrolling beat 'em up, but you could literally tell with the Sega always had, which was actually kind of cool and actually kind of known for it. The Sega Genesis had its own sound. Like, it had its own sound effects. It had its own like unique music and tones that they used and stuff like that for a lot of the games. And that was actually like even like the Aladdin video game that came out. The Sega Genesis one, I believe, was a lot better than the Super Nintendo one. But when you played them, they were completely 2 different games.
Very true.
But yeah, so that's what I've been playing this week, just fooling around with mods, getting like a feel for it and stuff like that. Learning, really diving into the OES system and learning like what it can do, which is actually kind of unique. So. And then Kyle, you've been playing. You have a couple of things you've been playing.
Yeah, so definitely, I checked out the Shoot Many Robots. Finally, I was giving up on Skyrim because I realized like every podcast is Skyrim. And I said, well, as a gamer, I need to try other things. I need to branch out. That's the beauty of the world we live in. Is there's plenty out there to play. I played some. mobile games. I gotta find them. I'll probably put those up.
I forgot.
next time.
Yeah, I've got addicted to. I did the mahjong on
Oh yeah,
the Xbox
the new
phone.
one.
Which
I
is
got that
addicting.
Tetris Blast you were talking about.
That's really addicting.
It's really good. I started playing that. I got my Plants vs Zombies. What I love. Here's the other thing I love. I had Plants vs Zombies, Angry Birds, Doodle Gods, and another game that I had purchased on my old Windows phone. And I was like, oh man, and then I downloaded the demos on the new phone, so I was playing them again. And I was like, I really wonder if, screw it, I'll just buy it again. Like Plants vs Zombies is a game I loved. I played it, I beat it. I was unlocking all the other stuff with it. I'm like, this is a great game. I'll just buy it again. So when I go to buy a game, it came up saying like, you've already purchased this game. Would you like to re-download? I'm like, of course. So I was able to re-download all my old games that I had already purchased previously, retain all my achievements, retain everything without having to start over, which I thought like that right there alone is what's beautiful about mobile. And I think it was cool because I saw a lot of reviews today where I guess like Fallout, and we'll probably get into it on the show, where a lot of the games were coming off the market. Like a lot of Marvel games were being taken off the servers. A lot of like Fallout games were being taken off the servers, and a lot of people getting like, whoa, like, this is really weird. But for me, like that's one thing that's beautiful about digital is that at any point I want to upgrade my computer, I want to upgrade my phone, I can still download my old versions without having to worry about rebuying and rebuying, which is kind of like one of the catch-22s with some of the new systems is you got to rebuy everything you just had.
Yeah, like that's what I really like about Steam. It's like as soon as you buy it, you own it, and then if you have another computer, you just basically just download Steam again and do all that kind of stuff. I do want to find out. I think I'm going to do it sometime next week, but I want to do some more research on the Steam system because I want to figure out like what are their actual marketing to? Because to me, a lot of people, every time I mention the Steam box, everyone's like, well, I just have Steam on my computer. If I really want to play on a big screen, I can get an adapter for the computer to like into it. I can just get a wireless controller for my PC. So it's like, what is literally the benefit of having a Steam box system? So I know you were playing a couple of other ones.
We gave out that just came out this week was the Sleeping Dogs.
Yes.
For the it's by Square Enix. I remember it came out about a couple years ago, or at least a year or two ago. Yeah, got a lot of hype. I remember that much. I remember it was like a really talked about game. Mm-hmm. People talking about how much fun it was. And I gotta say, when I played it, I noticed a lot of similarities with a lot of new games, like Arkham Asylum had a similar combat system with the whole like counter and things like that. Mobile phone, anything you can do reminded me a lot of like the Grand Theft Auto series, where literally I had a mobile phone. I'm like, this is like Grand Theft Auto because it had apps, it had browsers, it had things like that, upgrading your clothes, different shops you could do. I liked it because it gave you choices like Fable, where like I could go up to a shopkeeper and be like, hey man, you really need to invest in us, we'll protect you. Or I could be like, give me your money. Like I could just either be really threatening, or I could be more like blasé about it. You also had two tiers. You're an undercover cop, basically, working in the underground, trying to just like weed out this gang. So what's cool about it is like you get experience points based on how you do things. So like my gang membership, I got a ton of XP, and my cop membership, I got a little bit because I was like helping people. Like this woman like got robbed, and I chased after the guy and knocked him down. Oh, okay. So my cop XP went up, but whereas like when I was just doing stuff for the gang, my gang XP went up. So it's kind of like this neat like system where you get to level up things, you get new moves. I remember I went to a shop vendor, I drank something, so then I had more like I was faster moving. So when people were coming at me, I was able to block. Oh, that's very cool. So they got a lot of different things, different outfits you can get, all this cool stuff. Really like the story. The pacing of the game is really good. It's definitely an adult game because there's a lot, like ridiculous amount of like F-bombs. Like I'm just sitting there playing it. Like I literally we were talking about it like, I want to do a drinking game with it because like within like 5 minutes you'll be plastered with every time they use the F word. Oh yeah. Like how much words they use in the game. It's just like that. What's cool is I put the Cantonese on, so there's times when he'll be talking to you and he'll be like domo, like he'll say that instead of saying like the English. So a lot of times they get away with doing stuff by saying like the Chinese or the Cantonese of it. Really fun game. I really like it. I'm not sure if there's multiplayer or not, because if there is, like that'll be a fun game just to run around and beat people up. Yeah, I was curious if there was even like a co-op thing or something like that. But so I gave that a shot, and I remember a while back this game came out. Downloaded. Basically, what I do is if it comes out free to play for an Xbox Live membership, I download it. Don't care what it is. I downloaded that Magic game, all these other games, and I'm planning on playing through them, writing reviews, and then deleting them if I don't like them, or if I do, I'll probably keep them. And one of the games that surprises me and has been out, I guess, for a while, is the game called Ascend, and then the subtitle is Hand of Kull. Well, what I just realized about it is an MMO. but which is for the Xbox 360. Basically, you play the game and there's alternative worlds where basically like you'll see ghost characters of other players.
Okay.
Where sometimes if you enter arenas together, you can challenge one another, and if you beat them, sometimes you unlock stuff from them if they beat you. And it's kind of like a rating system, like you can go on with your friends, but not really like in the same world.
Mm-hmm.
But there's different skills you can do for other players. Like if you're on the light side, 3 gods, there's like the magic side, the dark side, and the light side. And if you're on the light, because I see that a lot, they can come through and like heal you on the other side. Like they can see your ghost character do a spell and they can heal you and get boost for it, because as they heal more people, they get boosts. And of course I chose hatred, so I banish enemies to their side, and if they get injured or hurt, I get points. But if they kill the enemies, I don't get anything, but what they get is they get XP then, because they were able to kill the enemies. You know, they're, aha, I'm stronger, I was able to kill all these enemies. So you have that playing with you. I ended up getting challenged by one guy yesterday, and I defeated him pretty easily. It was pretty funny, because he just kept blocking, and I just kept like running behind him and like hitting him. You customize a character. As far as I know, the gameplay is basically you're a god of some sort. You're kind of like a chaos god. It reminds me very much of like the good and evil.
Okay.
Balance of good and evil, because you choose what path you want to do. You summon. You kind of are like a god to these little like peons. It's an open world. There's different monsters that spawn, different boss battles. Really fun so far. Like I really got like just playing a couple hours of it, I was like, this is really intuitive. Says it's still free to play. They're up to 1 million players right now. They just announced the other day that they got up to 1 million.
All right, I'll check that out.
Definitely a lot of fun. And basically there is like, it is free to play. There is a thing where you can go on and buy souls, which is the currency. Yeah. There are certain items, like there's really cool costumes that you unlock and give you perks and stuff. I made my character basically all free stuff, and he did fairly well like for the first couple runs. Controls really easy, really intuitive, so most part it's fun. The only complaint I have so far, and that's what I've been reviewing today, is like you hear everybody. So if I have a headphone on and I'm chatting, you'll hear me regardless. And I only wish I could turn it off, because last night I was enjoying it so much, hearing the music and the narrative, and like I really was getting into it. But then I heard like the 10-year-olds like screaming at their friends, like, "What is he doing?" Like they were just screaming for no reason. Like it wasn't like I was communicating with them. They were just on there talking. So I really wish there was a way I could either mute it or turn it off.
The thing I hate is a lot of people don't realize this, and we do it all the time. Sometimes we'll be playing online and we go into party mode.
Oh yeah.
And party mode works out great in Xbox Live, just because if it's going through loading screens and everything, that it's a different connection than what the game is on, so you can communicate. So the cool part is if Kyle and I jumped onto a game, you won't hear anybody else in your game but the people in your party. So
but I like it a lot, so definitely highly recommend Hand of Coal. It's a fun game. I'd like to find out if there's more multiplayer with it. I think basically it's a single campaign, but you're in a world where there's multiplayers.
Okay.
And you just someone interact, because I remember there was some quests I was on where, like, for me as a hate person, I had to go and like sacrifice a guy and build an altar. So when I do that, then the whole landscape changes. It like turns into almost like chaos with flame and fire. But then I noticed like there was a lot of ghost apparitions, which were the players of the online world, who were also in that same spot, but they looked a little different. So I wonder if that's like, if you're holy, you do the exact same quest and it becomes holy, but because you're in like almost like a parallel world
universe,
which is why it makes sense. Like then I can banish things to their realm, or they can do things to me in my realm. Like it was really cool, because the guy I fought that night kept casting these like missiles at me, where these like little missiles would follow me, and I had to keep kind of dodging them. And then with me, I had fire, so he was blocking, so I would try to like get behind him and then cast fire on him, so that he would have like damage. So it's really fun.
That's cool.
And then some of the moves are really cool, like very basic, like XXY, XY, you know, things like that. You get spells. Definitely worth it. I mean, if it's free to play, like definitely check it out. Yeah, it's really cool. Like I liked it a lot. I didn't think I was gonna like it a lot too, because when it opens up, it's really kind of amateurish art. Like it's cool art, but it's still kind of like
you're like,
huh? Yeah, it looks kind of amateurish.
You're like, I shaved my balls for this.
Like what? I put on a hat for this? But yeah, so then it's really worth it though. So definitely I recommend.
Very cool, very cool. Well, I'll definitely have to check that out. I know my sleeping dog is downloaded, so I'll double check that out. But before we get into our gaming news, this is a new thing we've been doing lately on the show. We do a character spotlight. This character only had about 3 games.
Yeah.
Didn't really do too successful.
Yeah, he was supposed to be like the flagship character for quite a bit of companies.
Yeah, I forget what company it was. I mean, we'll get into it, but without further ado, this is our new segment, the character spotlight. who I'm talking about is, of course, Bubsy the Bobcat. Now, a lot of people might not know Bubsy the Bobcat. So let's pull him up on Wikipedia, and we'll get a few things.
Ooh.
Now, the creator was Michael Berlin, and a developer and publisher by Accolade, I believe it's pronounced.
Right.
Was a company. Now, there was 3 games. The first one was Bubsy in Claw Encounter of the Furry Kind, Bubsy 2, Bubsy in Frantic Furry Tales, and, of course, Bubsy 3D. So, of course, we got the first game was Bubsy, came out in May of 1992. It was for the originally for the Super NES, then it was later ported over to the Genesis. Bubsy 2 came out for all systems. It was on October 28th, 1994, and was released for both consoles. And then we finally had Bubsy 3D, which I believe came out for like the it was supposed to be for the PlayStation. It was the only, I think, Bubsy game that came out on the PlayStation, and I think it was a plan to release on the Sega Saturn. The only problem with it though is like Mario 64 was out, like it was out way before it came out, and it just was a horrible 3D platform game. Like it literally felt like you were playing the version you were playing was the version of like the game was not complete.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Like there's a cartoon I'll post, or a thing I'll post, because basically there's a guy called John Tron on YouTube. Mm-hmm. If you guys haven't checked him out, I'll post the video because he does a review of Bubsy. He gets into all the details about the animation, how it was a flagship character. He ends up playing, I think, on the Super NES because it was out for like Sega and for Super NES is when it came out. But his review is hilarious because he talks about how like he's like, why can't I do this? Like, what is this? Like, it talks about like all these bad, poor game mechanics, and he talks about the PlayStation 3D version.
Yeah,
where he says like literally, it sounds like they ran out of money, and that's why like some points you get to it, and you're like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do?
You just stand there.
But the really kind of weird is Bubsy was awarded the most hyped for a character of 1993 by EGM Monthly, EGM Game.
Yeah,
the book that's no longer around. But another thing I did not know about this, now, Bubsy actually had 3 different voice actors. Mm-hmm. 2 of the voice actors no one's really heard of. This is probably one of their one-time gig things. But in the second game, the character was played by Rob Paulsen. Now, if you don't know who that is, you might recognize his voice in such cartoon shows such as Animaniacs. He was Pinky. He was Yakko. He was also Raphael in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He also is now Donatello in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And apparently there was Bubsy also had a pilot episode for an animated series back in 1993. And Rob Paulsen praised his role for voicing Bubsy. Obviously, I think there was maybe it was probably just one episode aired, kind of like the Battletoads cartoon show, low ratings. If I can find anything about that cartoon show, we'll definitely check it out. But yeah, Bubsy, it's weird because Bubsy, I feel, I was actually replaying these games on the ROM, and I forgot how horrible they were. Like literally, it's a one-hit kill. Your hit detection isn't that great. Like Bubsy will run really, really fast for no reason, and then you'll hit something, and you'll be like, oh, okay. But I feel like if anybody wanted to, I think right now Bubsy could probably make a really good comeback if you gave him, 3 hits and you're dead. Maybe boof up the graphics. I mean, heck, even remake the first game and just try to make it your own. Maybe with HD graphics, make it a little bit more cartoony looking and stuff like that.
He still seems like a good character. Like, there's not a lot there that's bad about it. So
yeah, it's just he just wasn't well received. So a lot of people, if you don't know who Bubsy is, definitely check him out. He only had 3 games. I will try to look for Bubsy 3D so we can talk about it. But yeah, literally that game felt like it just wasn't completed. But yeah, so definitely check it out. I think it's really cool though for I really did like the fact that it was Rob Paulsen, because Rob Paulsen has done so much voice acting. He even has his own podcast called, I think, Talking Tunes.
Oh, yeah.
Where he talks about a lot of stuff. So I did not know that about him, that he did anything. So gaming news, on the other hand, Kyle, what is death of MMOs this year?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk with MMOs where a lot of these MMOs have been coming out over the course of a couple of years, and they've been obviously it's hard to compete with a lot of the big ones like Elders, Elf. What was it called? EverQuest. I can't even say it. That's how good it is. EverQuest. You had like your Star Wars Online, your MMOs, like your Old Republics. You have, of course, World of Warcraft, things like that. And, of course, this year there's been – it seems like every year like there's more and more MMOs because it's a very good way to make income. You can basically put a whole bunch of people on a server, give them a couple things to do, and they love it. Like there's a lot of games out there that are doing that. Even this Hand of Coal, I think, is an MMO. And what's crazy, so like there was like Toontown Online. I don't know if you remember that a couple years ago. That was where you like basically live in a cartoon town. And you could be like a cartoon character. That finally died. It was released in 2003, and it took them 10 years, but they finally are done. There was things called like Grimlands, Dungeon Fighter Online, which just came out about 3 years ago. That one down. They had the Universal Monsters Online, Magic the Gathering Tactics. They had Pirates of the Caribbean Online. They came out in 2007. That's already down. Command and Conquer, the free-to-play online. That one was already dead before it even got launched. And then a couple other ones was like, of course, the Warhammer series, the 40,000, K and all that. A lot of those kind of went under. So there was a big post on Kotaku talking about it, and it just like it really was sad because a lot of these companies were just upstarts, or like that Toon one. I couldn't believe that one's already went away because I remember that one was advertised and talked about quite a bit. So it seemed like, oh man, like that one should still have been around. But it's been hard over the course of the years to have MMOs to live as long as they have. So it's kind of been the way of the world. Is like if you have an MMO, like even with Warcraft, they even had times where they've had to gone free to play just to get people back into it, or they've had to. You always have to keep up on it, especially because of like. You can alienate a lot of people real quickly if you start doing things
Yeah,
wrong.
I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Final Fantasy 11 starts going down with the release of the new, I think, was it Final Fantasy 13?
Oh, yeah.
Or 14, I think it was, but...
You need
Yeah.
sauce or anything? We just got Papa John's, people.
Yeah, there's 2 things of sauce in there. You can get that, but... This is the second time we have done a podcast. Well, at least I've done a podcast while eating pizza.
Oh, yeah. It helps, especially since we've done
Make sure you shake it.
B3 today that we've done by the end of the day. So ignore our yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, I do
They're
apologize.
delicious.
So, China banning Call of Duty, Battlefield 4, and Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, actually, they have a big censorship thing, I guess, still in Japan. So even though they've allowed more consoles in recently, they are still banning a lot of the like high-end titles, especially the ones that are very violent. Just because they don't want that kind of, out in the stratosphere of...
Okay, and even
Gaming.
Assassin's Creed 3
Surprisingly, yeah.
wasn't allowed.
Well, then they did that, too. There was a lot of games that even came out when they're dealing with, what's it called? Like history. Like even Call of Duty, like they might still have allowed Call of Duty, but they would have tweaked certain things about like the history or the betrayal of characters.
China won!
Well, not even so much that, but just so much like even like the betrayal of like the Dynasty Warriors series is a prime example where Dynasty Warriors takes place in feudal China when the Japan and Taiwanese and all these other countries came there to try and claim it. So of course, like, do they want to be remembered as just like peasant farmers being like the subjugated to violent attacks from other countries? Like no, so they had to tweak it a bit, where basically it became like an unknown like land. It didn't become like China. It was like just kind of like a magical, land, and the game did very well over there. So I mean, it's when you got a lot of people over there, you want to try and please them as best you can. But they definitely are still very censored in the world of China with those kind of games. So I mean, like it makes sense. I mean, it was bound to happen, but at least like it's no different than hearing about it in Australia. Australia has a strict ban on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, just Grand Theft Auto though, which is weird, but yeah, I can see that. But that's what I kind of like about though with this story, if you think about it, because it's not just like they're singling out one game.
Yeah, they kind of do it.
They're telling you, well, it's really a lot of violent games. So basically, what I could do is then start a marketing where I could just get a bunch of mature games and black market sell them to China kids.
If you want to. Yeah, there's already start of a market in that. A lot of people doing that kind of stuff, like buying systems, hacking them, putting a lot of those type of titles in there and sending the systems over. Because obviously in customs, they're not going to open up a system, plug it in, and check it. They're usually just going to be like, oh, a system. And so there's people getting a way around it, but a lot of those games are still, you can't just go to a store and buy it. So
Yeah. Now, what is this one? Who says staying up late never did no good?
yeah, Kotaku had the story. It was great. Just some kids staying up late on Christmas, like playing some games. And I guess there was a fire that had started, and because he was up late, he was able to let the family know, and everyone got out safely, and not a lot of damage was done to the home. He goes, but normally, like, you go to bed early. They said, like, because of where his room was, he would have never heard the smoke alarm, or where everyone else's room was, you never would have heard it. And even it was going off, and, like, until he, like, came down and, like, knocked on their doors and stuff, they weren't able to hear it. So, I mean, yeah, it's like whoever says, like, staying up late playing video games never did any good, because clearly it seems more and more people are doing so, and in this situation definitely saved some lives. So kudos to those people. I heard about this, and this seems to happen quite a bit, where it looks like another man found porn on his kids.
Which I'm actually kind of curious
3DS.
about. Yeah, this is like the second story, but I'm like, didn't we just do this story like earlier this year?
Mhm.
I'm trying to figure it out. So I don't know if it was just a story that was posted again, but it seemed to be legit, like it was recently. But again,
Yeah, I think it happened again recently for the holiday. Like,
yeah,
kid
again
got
during the
it.
holidays. Now we talked about a story where basically a guy bought a system, basically a 3DS at a GameStop, and the employees didn't do their job, which I think is very weird that I hear this
Due
because.
diligence. They didn't do their due diligence.
Well, which is weird because when I trade in all my stuff, they go through everything. They check
yeah.
it, they open
Well, I
it,
think
they
so
make sure
now
it's
they're
working.
supposed to because of this very.
They've always done it for me, so I don't know. But apparently, a guy bought his son, a 3DS for Christmas, and then kid turns on, goes to this picture area, and there's all these nudie pics on there. I guess like a couple or whatnot.
or
We're taking
somebody,
pictures and things like that. So. Again, another man finds it. So most likely, GameStop or wherever you bought it from will probably, be able to be like,
They'll honor it and get you a new one or something. Like they did, I think that's what they did. They went above and beyond for that other kid where he got like a brand new one instead.
yeah, they gave him a brand new one. They gave him a couple of games and stuff like that. I think they gave him store credit. So, but it's just weird that this is like the second time in like the year.
And I mean, I get it. People trading stuff in all the times. Especially around the holidays, you get really busy. It's hard to check everything. But I think a lot of times, like, what would be easier is just to format it and make sure that way there's no issue.
Yeah, well, then again, the same thing happened to me with the when I got my Wii.
Oh,
when I
yeah.
first
So
got
this
my
one
Wii.
was actually a Walmart. I guess it was a pre-owned
Oh, okay.
system. So obviously, like, who knows what the Walmart standard is to go through that?
Yeah, that's true.
So and obviously, yeah, it looks, it's definitely one that it was very clear to see. Like, it wasn't hard to find at all. But it looks like they're going to honor it. They went ahead and gave him a better system, a new system. So I mean, it worked out. Like, the kid eventually got it. But I mean, it's one of those things too where
Well,
it's
I look
like,
at it this way, kid, you're gonna see booby sometime in your life.
eventually,
but,
at least you got it for free.
But the thing is like the only time I've ever had that was when I bought a Wii from Bookman's,
Uh-huh.
and the person who traded in didn't delete any of his stuff off.
Oh, so you had all his info.
So I had all of his info. So if I wanted to be a dick, I could have just bought a bunch of games with his info and just would have been fine with it. But I'm not a dick.
And that's
so
the scary part too, because like you don't realize that like people would do that. They'll buy your credit card information, return the system so they can't be caught. Because like, oh, I bought it and I didn't like it, they can get their money back. But now they have all your personal info.
Yeah.
Now they can buy something else.
So again, people, if you're buying a Nintendo 3DS or if you're trading ones in, get your porno pics off there.
Or instruct the buyer how to format it. Like, just here, you do it yourself.
Yeah, because
Like, here's
I've
how to
done
do it.
that
Yeah,
because
just
I got all my information off and
defaulted
stuff
back
like
to
that. Now this
normal.
is actually kind of cool. Capcom plans on a 2014 fighting game with Ace Attorney and
Yeah.
a classic IP in the mix finally. So it looks like I don't know what it's going to be called, but it looks like they're going to have some characters from Ghost Trick and Professor Layton.
Yeah, a whole bunch of the ones.
Versus-
Anything that they've built themselves or like funded.
Yeah,
There's a good possibility you might even see some Mega Man. You might even see some Zelda, depending on how they work out the rights with it. Because obviously their version or like their capabilities of it, you might see that. I'm going to hold out no, just because other people own those and they were more licensed to do it. But anything that they generated themselves, which is quite a bit, like they have a huge array of like characters. So it'll be really cool
Capcom.
to see. Yeah.
So yeah, that should be interesting. Funny part is I've never played one of the Phoenix Wright games anyway.
Me neither, but I love that character design. I love I get all the jokes and stuff when people always talk about that character. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how that'll work out and stuff.
Now, I don't really consider this like a huge story. It's more of just like, oh, okay. But Funky Kong
About
returns in Donkey Kong Country Tropic Freeze. I don't know if he's a playable character or he's just like a side character.
I don't know either, but yeah, it's always good to see when they bring back some of those characters. Because I mean, some of them, like the Donkey Kong series that they redid with Rare really did bring some really cool characters like Cranky Kong, all these other Kongs.
Yeah.
Like it added to the ordeal of the character and kind of fleshed it out and really made it fun. And obviously, like you said, like being older, like there's these games now that you're like, oh, I remember those characters. I remember those games. I freaking remember the anime, like the 3D animation cartoon.
Yeah.
So like, it's cool that I think they're bringing back some of these.
So
characters.
the game, of course, gets released on February. It looks like it was pushed back again, but it looks like February 21st of 2014. So, but yeah, another big thing. But I mean, Funky Kong was pretty much in, I think, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and possibly 3. I can't remember because 3 I kind of blocked out because it wasn't my favorite. This was kind of cool. I did not know about this, but apparently they were creating a co-op character for Mighty Number 9. And everyone got to cast their vote. So it looks like we are getting a female character sidekick.
Nice.
I think the design is actually pretty cool looking and stuff like that. So it looks like this can be a co-op game, which now I'm even more psyched for.
Yeah, that'll be
pretty
fun. Yeah, because I remember there was like Mega Man something or other. I don't know if it was Zero or one of the ones that they did for the Advance. That I think eventually, you could do a co-op, but you had to both unlock a certain point, and then you could do it. And I heard it was supposed to be a lot of fun. Again, don't quote me because I could be wrong, and I could have been drunk at the time and just saw a double. But at the same token, like it's always cool when you can do those kind of adventures in co-op. Like Metal Slug, I love Metal Slug with co-op player. It's a good one.
Yeah, those are actually the games I've been trying to get on for the Neo Geo working.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, actually, this is probably one of the most anticipating games I'm looking forward to right now this year is Mighty Number 9, just because, just the look of it, the feel of it, just how creative it is, and back to old school, like side scrolling. The
I'll give a
artwork
shout out real quick because there was a podcast I just was telling Steve about called Crit Juice.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are fans of Dungeons and Dragons and fans of comedy or just hearing a bunch of guys get drunk, this podcast was really fun. They actually were talking about it on one of their later ones. I think it's episode 28 or 9, where the guy's like, hey, did you guys hear about this guy? He's got like the original musician and all these other things. They were really talking, and just hearing how they got so excited about it. And it's cool because that's what I really like about the Kickstarter is how you just get people's passion going.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. So I'm looking forward to that.
This is actually, I guess this is breaking news on joystick.com. Dead Rising 3 first DLC episode delayed.
I guess that one got
it's now
pushed
coming out until January 21st, which, to be honest with you, I think that's still pretty soon because, I mean, the system just came out and the game just came out in
November, December, January. Yeah, I mean, it's like really only a couple months
That's actually
old.
pretty fast. I mean, look how, to get the first episode for, what's it called? BioShock Infinite. I mean, the game came out in March, and I think the thing was just released in November, so...
I also think, like, I just saw the other day, I think Walking Dead Season 1 and the Wolf Among Us, Episode 1s are free, and I think Episode 2 now might be free for The Walking Dead.
Well, I already beat all of them.
Yeah, you already beat them all, and you already have them, so... But for me, like, because I don't have them all.
No, because I let you borrow the game, and then you were like, I don't really like this.
Well, let's choose your own adventure. Even Lindsay and I said the same thing, because we got to the part where you find the girl in the room in that first area, and you have to kind of do the whole sneaking around and grab this sheet and this and that. And, like, Lindsay looked at me, and she's like, well, why wouldn't you just... I'm like, I know, exactly. Like, I would have just done this, and, like, that would have been the end of it. But you have to do it, like, certain ways because of, like... just how the game is. Let's choose your own.
Okay, now this is a video we'll play a little bit of, and we'll probably definitely post it when the show comes out. This is called Cuphead?
Actually, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is an independent game that's coming out. Basically, they did it based on 1930s style art. And it's a character called Cuphead. And it looks like it's got basic game mechanics. I'm not sure. I think it's for the Xbox. I'm not sure yet. But it looks like it's from like the 1937s, 80s, 40s, like cartoon. Like it looks very campy, it looks fun. Like definitely a lot of people have heard about it, and it looks like a fun game.
So I'm going to go ahead and play this trailer. It's only like 43 seconds.
It's not that big because it's just coming out. But like they show a little bit of gameplay. There's a website, cupheadgame.com. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a run and gun and fighting game hybrid, hand drawn and inked in the style of the 19. Oh my God!
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this just got announced this week, and it was like a lot of people already talking about it. If you ever grew up with the old Bugs Bunny and the old Mickey Mouse cartoons, very much looks very similar to that.
Oh, this is awesome looking. Yeah, it literally looks like an old style. So I do like these little independent games. I really like how the market has hit these things like a lot more people are on board, because I remember when you would hear like independent game, and I'd be like, okay, Mister, I'm sorry, it's all talk. But yeah, that looks fantastic. Yeah, it literally looks like old school cartoon show and everything that.
What I like about it too is just that thing that the game industry has changed so much that you're going to see a lot more. That's what a lot of people said about this Cuphead, is that you're going to see a lot more independence this year because it's making it easier to make games.
Well, because
A lot
everybody
more people.
signed up. I mean, PlayStation 4 is like, yeah, we're going to do indie games. Xbox 360 was already doing some indie games, but now they've released their contract with the system of the OYA coming out, making it so easy to make a game.
I mean, it's so easy. It's the Android system. There's a lot of systems. There's a Crytek. You can download their engine now. Unity, you can download still for free. The Unreal Engine still free. Like, all these things, tools you can use that are at your disposal to make games is insane.
So, I mean, we're still. I know I've been in talks with a buddy of mine, TJ, for a while. I've been wanting to make a side-scrolling beat 'em up, kind of like in the 16-bit style for a Konami's fighting game.
For
the band would be kind of cool. But even like a 4i Radio Network fighting game where you're doing that, where it's all like, we got to stop Al Pacino.
Yeah, we got to stop at the other network or whatever.
Yeah.
Network.
But, anything else you want to add? I know we're going to be wrapping up this pretty soon.
Yeah, this was quite a busy week with like news, and I know that already I saw there's a couple of news stories that are coming out, so we'll probably touch base on those next week. I know we have a lot of upcoming games coming out, though, for all the systems. You want to go ahead and run through those for us?
Yeah, so the upcoming game releases for 2014, obviously, infamous Second Son for the PS4 will be coming out in March. We got Final Fantasy, PS4 will be coming out sometime in 2014. Destiny, Xbox One, PlayStation, PC, September 14th. Final Fantasy X and X2, the combo pack, the HD version of those games for the PS3, coming out in March. Watchdog, again, has been pushed back, but it's coming out for all these systems sometime in 2014. South Park Stick of Truth, not sure if it's been pushed back, but it does say March.
Yeah, sometime in March.
Then we do have Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. That's coming out 2014. Tropic Thunder Freeze, obviously, is now coming out February 21st. Kingdom Hearts 3 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 will sometime come out in 2014. Mario Kart 8 will be coming out in the spring for the Wii U. We have the Elder Scrolls Online destined to come out on April 4th, 2014. And the new Wolfenstein game is to be decided again in 2014. Again, these are subject to change, so don't quote me on these dates. We just got these from reliable websites and so on and so forth. If anything does change, we will update and let you know, and we'll also add more to the list as soon as games come out and or games have been released, and we'll move them off the thing. So, so stay tuned for all the goodies that are coming in 2014. This is actually our first show, I believe, for 2014.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually titled episode N64. Haha, because we finally got to 64 episodes.
Yeah, and two topics we'll talk about next week, because I just realized it on our Facebook. We had that hack that happened to all the game companies.
Yes.
And then also Metroid, like you said, like 25th anniversary and nothing. Like, no
yeah, they
game or
didn't
nothing?
come out with a they didn't have any, like, Kirby's did 20-year anniversary, and they released every single one of his games on a Nintendo Wii game like system thing, which was really kind of cool. They did that with, even for the year of Luigi, it was Luigi's 25th year. They did a bunch of stuff for him, but yeah, even for Metroid, they didn't do
I think if they just released like Super Metroid or something, that would have done just fine. Like anything, just
Yeah,
high def version of Super Metroid.
high def or something, but they decided not to do anything with, and I was very kind of surprised with that. I was like, because Metroid literally was huge, did not do anything in the N64 stage.
Not really.
And
no.
then GameCube came out.
It came out for the Smash Bros.
That's what she was in Smash Bros. And everyone was like, I totally forgot about this character. And then the GameCube came out, and they came out with the Metroid Prime.
Which actually did very well.
Yeah, which did very well, had the thing, and then she moved over to the Metroid Other M, where it was back to a side-scrolling Metroid game, kind of 3D effect, which is actually a really, I would say if you've never played a Metroid game in your entire life, that would be the one to jump onto, because I feel like it's a really good game. It's very fun. The only thing I didn't like about it was the stupid dialogue, but then again, I would just change the voice to like Japanese, but her going like, the baby, the entire time was kind of annoying. But other than that, great game, fun to play, and stuff like that. But yeah, I was very surprised that they didn't have anything for her this year for 25 years. Maybe next year, or this year, I should say. Maybe
hopefully,
they'll do something, but it's just very weird. So, but Luigi did get a lot of spotlight this year. He got his own game, Luigi U.
Which, I mean, he is a big pull character.
No, he is.
So they're all up there. Like every single one of them. You say Link, Samus, Luigi, Mario, like any of the characters, you're like immediately like, oh yeah, like
Yeah. But I mean, like Luigi really got some stuff. I mean, they even made Dr. Luigi. They finally gave him like a little doctor game, like a revamped of Mario, Dr. Mario and stuff like that. So I mean, and then of course Luigi's Mansion came out for the 3DS, which was a huge hit, which was a great game. Really good graphics too and stuff. It's just very surprising what handheld systems can do nowadays.
Oh yeah, big time.
So, but yeah, so hopefully we'll get to see more characters. We'll get new, people coming in. I mean, Crash Bandicoot I think is coming up maybe. What is it? This is his 20 years?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see those people again. I actually, if Xbox wanted to score some points, I think they would let Rare make Banjo-Kazooie a playable character in Super Smash Bros.
Oh, that would be cool.
I think that would be a good idea, but we'll see what happens. But Kyle, where can we find you?
You can find me at Mooney Studios, and of course at Longboxcast, our Twitter handles for our other podcasts, and my website for my game company, which should eventually have episodes. I already got 2 down. I got to tweak them and edit them and then get them to Eric so we can post them and figure out scheduling with getting a Dev Speaks out there. But that's where you can find me. Also here, you can find me at arcade-bros.com. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about. All that fun stuff. How about you, Steve?
Well, I just messed up. We had one more segment we could talk about. It was our Get Gaming question of
the
week.
I guess we could talk about that.
So we did have a couple of responses. Now, what was the Get Gaming question of this week?
We went with that. If you got a console for the holiday, how long before you could enjoy it? And I remember because you were talking about last week with Matthew Renfro from the Renfro show on the 4i Radio Network.
Yes.
He was talking about it took him 48 hours to play it because they actually had so many updates for it that he had to do all the updates before he could actually sit down and get his handle on it. For me, I actually put that the N64 because even though we all got it at the same time, I didn't have a connection or a Y cable, I think, so I wasn't able to actually hook mine up and play mine.
Yeah, I think we had to hook it up in the downstairs TV because our TV.
That was the only TV that they had available. Yeah, so I had to wait. We still got to play because we did trade off that day where everyone got to play a little bit of it for an hour. And then we watched movies and everything else. And then by the next or second or third day, I think we went to the store and I was able to buy the Y adapter with
I remember that.
Christmas money. So yeah, it took me some time before I actually got my system hooked up and ready to play. But I remember how it was still as fun. That's what I liked about it is no matter who got it, anyone could walk up and play it. There was no I have to figure out anything. So then of course I just put it here. Raven put a note about how she wanted to review the X-Bone and her Dead Rising 3 because I guess she beat it.
Yeah,
so
she
that's
actually,
really not
I guess she was playing. I guess one of her friends. She did say she wanted to go ahead and buy this.
Sweet. So we'll talk about that probably next show. I haven't thought of a good Get Gaming yet because obviously we have a lot of things coming out. So we'll probably have that posted sometime this week with our new Get Gaming.
You know what? I'm just gonna throw it out here.
Do it. Get Gaming.
What was your Get Gaming question of the week? What was your favorite superhero video game growing up? Because I did download one for the ROMs, and I know Kyle and I will probably play it next week. He should remember that.
Wait, no.
No.
Nobody's favorite.
I would say it's the sequel to Maximum Carnage.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I forgot about that.
So there's that game I downloaded as Maximum Carnage and the sequel, just because the sequel is the only one you could actually play 2-player mode, where you're Spider-Man and Venom.
Right,
so I think Kyle and I will probably dive into that next week for our retrospect on games. Of course, you can find me at Stephen Mooney Jr. on the Twitter. Also, you can follow us at arcade_bros. Also, visit us on arcade-bros.com, part of the 4i Radio Network. Also, check out more shows on 4iradio.com.
What else we?
I'm trying to think. I have to pick.
Yeah, you can visit us also on the Firm. We're on Spreaker, iTunes, all those fun stuff. Our website, arcade-bros.com. And again, leave us a comment, post, whatever. If you have anything you want to talk about, games you've played, we'd love to hear from everybody and bring them up. If there's topics that you're man, you guys are totally missing this game I've played, hit us up. Let us know and we'll talk about it and play it out.
Also, don't forget, shit.
Steve forgot.
Kyle. It had something to do with Kyle, too. Oh, yeah, don't forget to also check out our new show, the Long Box Cast, hosted by Kyle Mooney. So definitely check that out. We've been releasing them now, I think Thursdays, and we're going to have it every week. So might as well just promote it for a little bit. I don't know how our first episode did. I have to check out the numbers on that. Hopefully we did pretty well. But already we're on 30 likes with that. So again, also like our Facebook page. We are trying to still do a contest. We can get to 150 likes.
Yeah, we got some prizes to give out.
We will have a couple of prizes to give out. So we are definitely getting into that kind of stuff. But again, until next time, kiddos, keep on gaming. pizza party.